I gave you a parent function in each problem, x squared. So for this x squared, this parabola, first of all, I would like you to go 3 units to the left. So left and right, you have to put number right next to x. So therefore, you will have to draw a parenthesis, square, and then this is x. Is this a plus or a minus? For left side, this is a plus, because when x is equals to -3, y is equals to 0, right? So the vertex is at -3 comma 0. So that's why this is a +3. So when x is equals to -3, you get a 0. And then 4 units up, you have x plus 3. Whatever you have from the previous step, you add 4 units to it. And then the next one is a reflection in the x-axis. Reflection in the x-axis. This piece x to the third x plus 3 square is always positive. To make a reflection, you have to put a minus in front. So you have a x plus 3 and then square plus 4. So this is the answer that I am looking for. Alright, so number 2, you have a parent function x to the third. First of all, you go 10 units to the right. Let me match the color for you. So you have to go 10 units to the right, and then the third power goes here, right? 10 units to the right is minus 10, and then this is x. Check it out. When x is equals to 10, x equals to 10 is on the right hand side of the y-axis, right? So when x is equals to 10, y is equals to 0, and then 20 units down, you have x minus 10 to the third, and then minus 20, and then finally you have to create a reflection in the y-axis. So when you create a reflection in the y-axis, you have to put a negative right next to x. So you have parenthesis negative, and then x minus 10 to the third power, and then minus 20. So this is the final answer. Alright, how about the next one? The next one is an absolute value, 8 units to the left, 7 units down. So let me move this up a little bit. So you go 8 units to the left. So 8 units to the left, what is this? This is a x minus 8, right? So you have a x minus 8, x minus 8. So before I move on, can you tell me, is this right? 8 units to the left is x minus 8. Think about it. What happened when x is equals to 8? Y is equals to 0, right? So when x is equals to 8, y is equals to 0. The next question is x equals to 8 on the right side of the y-axis or on the left side of the y-axis? The answer is the right side, right? X equals to positive 8. So therefore, this is not right. You have to do a plus 8. Because it's 8 units to the left. In order to pick an x value on the left side of the y-axis, like x equals to -8, you have to use a plus 8. -8 plus 8 is equals to 0. So now the v, the tip is at 0, is at -8 comma 0. And then 7 units down, very simple, just minus 7. This one you can do it in one step. Okay, number 4 and 5. 5 is extremely tricky. So number 4, you have square root of x, and then you go 6 units to the left, right? So you have a square root of x plus 6, right? To the left. So when x is equals to -6, so when x is equals to -6, y is equals to 0, and then -6 is on the left, and then reflected in both x-axis and y-axis. So you have this, right? So at this point, you have this. At this point, you have this. And you want to create a reflection in the x-axis. So this is always positive. You want to flip that over to quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. You have to put a big minus or big negative in front of the entire square root term. So therefore, you have to do this. So negative, the square root of x plus 6. So this is a reflection in x-axis. And then how about the y-axis? The y-axis, you simply put a minus right next to x. So at the end of the day, you have a minus, and then this is a x plus 6. That is the previous function, right? So all you have to do is you put a minus right next to x. So that is the answer to number 4. So let me save myself some space and then move this up. So the next one is, this one is very tricky. You have a square root of x, so this time is 9 units down. So 9 units down, then I will have a square root of x minus 9, right? So that is a 9 units down. And then reflection in x and y. So the best way to do it is create a reflection in y first. So that That way, I will just do a square root of negative x minus 9. So what is the graph look like? Check the graph. What is the graph look like? The graph looks like this. So at this point, the graph looks like this. So negative 9 should be way down, right? So negative 9 should be way down. And then the graph looks like this. All right, so this is a reflection in y. And then how about reflection in x? So for reflection in x, I am going to take an action. So it looks like the only option that we can do is we put a minus in front of the square root, right? So if you want to do this, so negative x minus 9, is this correct? I'm asking you a question, is this correct? So you create a reflection, then you might be thinking, oh, all right, so let me just show you the pictures. So if you do that, so you have a negative 9, right? So it was this. Now, after you create a reflection in x, it looks like this. So that is what you have, right? But is this correct? Is this a reflection in the x-axis? The answer is no. This is not totally right. So reflection in the x-axis, now because this graph is already in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, right? So when you create a reflection in the x-axis, you should flip the entire thing up to quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Do we agree? This is like below the x-axis. Reflection in the x-axis is like in a tennis court, you have an object over here. You want to kick this object over to the other side of the net, right? So, but if you put a negative in front of the square root, that is not going to do the work. That will just do a flip. But how do you kick this over to the place above the x-axis? So here is how you do it. So what you have to do is, you have to do this. You have to put a negative in front of the entire function. So you have to put a negative in front of the entire function. You have to do this. So negative x minus 9. So if you do that, you have negative square root of negative x plus 9. This is the one that we are looking for. What is the graph look like? The graph looks like this. So if you do a negative x like that, and then plus 9, that since you have to distribute the minus to the minus 9, that will just kick the whole thing above the x-axis. So this is what we are looking for. Now, I want to do one more thing. So let me just copy this problem because I want to make a minor modification. So let me just copy this and then I will just bring it over here. Of course, I will have to change the problem a little bit. So what I am going to do next is I am going to change the down to an up. So let's change this to an up. Then you say, okay, easy. So square root of x and then you plus 9, right? Simple. Square root of x plus 9. So now you have this. Square root of x plus 9. And then reflection in the y-axis. Then what do? You have square root of negative x plus 9, right? And then reflection in the y-axis. So now you have this. And then how about reflection in the x-axis? If for reflection in the x-axis, so for this x-axis, if you just do this, if you just do this, add a negative in front of the square root, if you just do this, this is what you are going to get. So let me draw the graph first. So it was this, right? It was this. But if you put a negative in front of the square root, that becomes this. Is this a reflection in the x-axis? The x-axis is over here. That is not a reflection. For reflection, you should kick the whole thing below the x-axis. How do you do that? So what you have to do is you have to negative the entire function. Negative the entire function. Just negative this piece. Then square root of negative x plus 9. So you have negative square root of negative x minus 9. So when you do so, this is the way to kick it over to the bottom of the below the x-axis. So this is x equals to negative 9, and then that is what that looks like from this graph to this graph. And then where is the final answer? The final answer is right over here. So this is the answer. Okay, if you like the way I teach function transformation, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, and I will meet you all in the next lesson. Signing out.